We don't, as far as I know, have a master plan for downtown Los Altos. And we haven't really had a community-wide visioning for that.
We actually reinvented the downtown intersections for Main and State at 1st and 2nd Street. So we're looking at a multiple phase approach that's probably going to take us the next 5 to 10 years.
I think that had there been more community engagement, here's what's going to happen, here's why it's going to happen, here's a time frame that it's going to take, that the people, the community would have felt more engaged. Because at the end of the day, we're a small town, we are a small business. I think about us as being a $40 million kind of company, and we as residents shouldn't hold our city council to all the expertise that a community the size of Mountain View or Palo Alto or even San Carlos would have, because we're small. So that means that we need experts.
Silicon Valley is built on one technology after the other, one industry after the other has come through. I look at Silicon Valley as organic. I look at Los Altos as organic. We started as an orchard community, a bedroom community for San Francisco. And as it has evolved through the years, our housing stock has increased in terms of the size of the homes. The expectations of the community for services such as our parks and recreation programs have increased. As the demands on the city increase, we need to understand what change the community is expecting and to ensure that we're ahead of that change.
2 years ago, I was walking downtown and I noticed that there was yet another vacancy, and I became so troubled by that I thought I really need to get off the sidelines and understand, why are there so many vacancies? Why is our downtown not as commercially vibrant as some of the other downtowns? I've been a resident for 17 years in Los Altos, and I think never before have we seen so many activities downtown. So you see probably 4 different construction projects that are going on, from condos to office building to hotel, as an example, and those are already approved and in one stage or another of development. Safeway being remodeled, the undergrounding of the wires, which on the surface sounds kind of pedestrian, but that will actually reshape what First Street looks like.
The ultimate goal for the downtown construction is to renovate not only the public space, which is the streets, the sidewalks, and the open space, but also to encourage the downtown development from a property owner standpoint. Every 20 so years, it's good to have a reinvestment of a downtown community to ensure that its continued viability remains strong. So as we look forward, we're hoping to see not only the private dollars follow the public dollars that we've invested, but in addition to that, more individuals living and commuting into downtown Los Altos.
I think it was about a May time frame that what was happening every Wednesday morning there were about 8 or 9 property owners that started meeting. And so then, this hasn't happened, I don't think, ever in Los Altos history, this frequently in terms of meeting. And so then some of those property owners said, well, what about the merchants? What about residents? And so then one of the landlords said, I will let you meet in my property, which is very generous of him, of course. And so then we sort of called a handful of friends, and I think that first meeting there must have been 40, 45 people that were there. And so we told why it was we lived in Los Altos. What do we like about Los Altos? What do we not like about the downtown area? Just focused on the downtown area. And I think what made this group different is that we said, not unlike the landowners, what can we do? What can we do by rolling up our sleeves, small little projects where we don't have to go and ask the city council for money, we don't have to go and ask them to change the ordinances, we don't have to go and ask them to allocate money in a budget. And so every other Tuesday we started meeting, and we decided what was most, we went through in a very democratic way, identified issues, then voted on the issues that were most important, broke into about 7 little groups.
And you all have done some great work of talking about what it is that you like about Los Altos, some friendly jumps up, or what we'd like it to be, what we don't want, and you see the word that jumps up in this one.
The people have ranged from, I think we had about 25 or so here last time, to the the 70 that first meeting. Generally, it's been between about 30 and 50. And we're just trying to figure out how to collaborate, what that means, we've at this point focused in sort of teams, looking at parking issues, at how to create more opportunities for people to socialize and have fun downtown, at city processes and how they work, at the image of the village, and at commercial interests.
They all moved to Los Altos because they like that flavor, right? The tenderness, someone called it, of what goes on in Los Altos, and they're concerned about the downtown area and making sure that it continues to be an increasingly vibrant commercial area. And they want to see results, and they're willing to put in the time, the effort to do that in a very collaborative way. Not an antagonistic way, not an angry way, but a collaborative way.
If you don't have a plan and from the community side of what they want, developers are just going to tell you what they think they can develop. And in one cycle of an economy, it may just be condos, and another, it might be offices.
If it were a company that I was running or a sales organization, we would have quarterly and annual goals. We don't with this group because what's fundamental is engagement. So the community will engage against the city council's cadence. So the things that the city council are dealing with, right? This group will respond to that and react to that and attempt to get in front of it to know and understand and study issues. I think that this group would love to see a plan for the downtown area. Why a plan? Because if there's a plan, you and I can communicate about that. You can have your opinion, I can have my opinion.
I believe that we do represent the downtown business owners. We do represent the broader residents. We may have disagreements, similar to whether an investment is good or bad. One of the things I realized is that in any decision, you can't please everybody. Part of what we've done and part of what I've advocated is bringing our meetings and our activities out into the community. So we actually hold city council meetings and study sessions in South Los Altos, Mid Los Altos, North Los Altos, to where we invite the residents to come and share their views on a variety of issues.
Rates of change and people adopting to change is really tough, right? I mean, people get in their ruts, and I suppose the older a community gets, the more resistance to change is. I think that what this community needs to do is make sure that there is a win-win rather than a lose-lose. Because as I've observed this community dealing with various political education issues over the years, if there is a winner and a loser, we don't come together as a community. And I find that the way to do that is engaging with the public, offering town hall meetings, communicate to death, and set an expectation. My personal view is that there's less resistance to change now than there was 2 years ago. I think that residents want to become more engaged. They don't always know how to become more engaged. So I think that some of our community groups need to find a way to come up with bite-sized pieces, right? Tiny little pieces in terms of how can you engage.
It's an experiment, so we're still figuring it out and constantly changing. In fact, after each meeting, we do learnings and pluses and deltas, like what did people learn from this meeting, what worked really well, what didn't work well that we might try to improve next meeting. So it's constantly evolving. And as it is now, it's a bit of a dynamic between realizing that I think things happen best in smaller groups and teams, but that there are a lot of people that want to be involved, and there are a lot of things that need to be addressed.
Do people support it? I would say by and large, yes, based on the opinions that I've heard. There are clear community issues that we have to address. The downtown, actually Kim Cranston's group has been pretty good about sharing the concerns of what we could do it better the next time. Because I think when we go through this process, it's important to document what we've done well, what we've done not so well, what we've done very poorly. And it's important not to repeat the poorly or not so well, to improve upon the choices that we've made and to make sure that we allow future city councils not to make the same mistakes.